Why we laugh. The hidden science behind one of humanity's most powerful behaviors. Part 3 Final. Welcome back to Army. Throughout today's journey, we have explored one of the most fascinating behaviors in human life. We discovered that laughter is far more than a reaction to a funny joke. It is the result of millions of neurons working together, helping us process surprise, build relationships, communicate safety, and strengthen social bonds. But one final question remains. Why has laughter survived throughout millions of years of evolution? From an evolutionary perspective, every behavior has a cost. Laughing requires energy. It interrupts breathing. It makes noise that could attract attention. At first glance, laughter seems like an unnecessary risk. So why didn't evolution eliminate it? Scientists believe the answer lies in cooperation. Unlike many animals, humans have always depended on living and working together. Our ancestors hunted together, protected one another, raised children as groups, shared food, shared knowledge, and eventually built civilizations. Trust was essential for survival, but trust is invisible. You cannot see it. You cannot touch it. The brain needed fast ways to recognize whether another person was friendly or threatening. Laughter may have become one of those signals. When people laugh together, their brains begin responding in surprisingly similar ways. Studies using brain imaging suggest that shared positive emotional experiences activate overlapping neural networks involved in emotion, attention, and social understanding. In simple words, laughing together helps people feel connected. Think about your closest friendships. Many of your strongest memories probably are not based on serious conversations. Instead, they involve moments of shared laughter, a funny mistake, an unexpected joke, a silly memory. Those moments remain unforgettable because they combine emotion with social connection. Neuroscientists know that emotionally meaningful experiences are often remembered more strongly than emotionally neutral ones. Laughter helps create those memorable moments. It is not only entertainment, it is part of how relationships are built. Scientists have also discovered something remarkable about smiling and laughter. When you genuinely smile, your facial muscles send signals back to the brain. This idea is known as the facial feedback hypothesis. Although researchers continue debating exactly how strong this effect is, many studies suggest that facial expressions do not simply reflect emotions. They may also influence them. In other words, sometimes you smile because you feel happy. But sometimes smiling may also help your brain move toward a more positive emotional state. Laughter appears to work in a similar way. The body and brain are constantly communicating with each other. This reminds us of an important lesson from modern neuroscience. The brain does not work alone. Every heartbeat, every breath, every facial expression, every movement becomes part of an ongoing conversation between the brain and the body. Another fascinating question is whether artificial intelligence could ever truly understand humor. Computers can recognize patterns. They can generate jokes. They can even learn which jokes people tend to enjoy. But humor depends on far more than language. It depends on culture, shared experiences, emotions, timing, relationships, and the ability to recognize subtle differences between expectation and reality. For humans, laughter is deeply connected to living in a social world. That is why the same joke may make one person laugh uncontrollably while another remains completely silent. Humor is not stored inside the joke itself. It emerges from the interaction between the joke and the unique brain experiencing it. Perhaps this explains why laughter is so difficult to study. There is no universal joke. There is no single type of humor that everyone finds funny. Every brain carries different memories, different experiences, and different expectations. Yet despite all these differences, every healthy culture laughs. Children laugh before they understand language. People who speak completely different languages can still laugh together. Even when words fail, laughter often succeeds. This makes laughter one of humanity's most universal forms of communication. As scientists continue studying the brain, they increasingly recognize that laughter is not a trivial behavior. It influences learning, memory, relationships, stress, health, and perhaps even survival itself. What once seemed like a simple reaction is now understood as one of the most sophisticated forms of social behavior ever discovered. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson of today's episode. The behaviors we perform every day without thinking, smiling, laughing, talking, sleeping, dreaming, breathing, often hide extraordinary scientific stories beneath the surface. The more carefully we observe ordinary life, the more extraordinary it becomes. That is the beauty of science. It transforms the familiar into the fascinating. As we reach the end of today's journey, let's remember one simple truth. Laughter is much more than a sound. It is a language older than words, a signal of safety, a bridge between minds, a reminder that human beings have always survived not only because we are intelligent, but because we are connected. The next time you laugh with your family, your friends, or even a complete stranger, remember that millions of years of evolution, billions of neurons, and countless biological processes are working together in a single joyful moment. Science teaches us that some of life's greatest mysteries are hidden inside the experiences we often take for granted, and laughter is one of the most beautiful examples. This is Army. Thank you for joining me on another journey into the science behind everyday life. If today's episode changed the way you think about laughter, then perhaps the next smile you share will remind you that even the simplest human behaviors are extraordinary when viewed through the lens of science. Until next time, keep smiling, keep learning, stay curious, and never stop asking why. Thank you for watching Army. See you in the next episode.